Hello, and welcome to my training of Symphony of the Cells. My name is Elisa Bonet. I'm a certified essential oil educator with doTERRA. I am also certified in Symphony of the Cells. This is a specialized technique that is very supportive of various systems of the body. And so we're going to get started and learn what is Symphony of the Cells. Now, this technique is quite specialized, and you can't go to any traditional massage spa and request this technique because more than likely they are not going to be familiar with it. This is a technique that uses certified pure therapeutic grade essential oils, and they are applied one at a time in a sequence to support various systems of the body to create harmony and balance. So this specific technique creates this synergy among the oils, and it is quite phenomenal. I love this quote by Hippocrates, which states, if someone wishes for good health, one must first seek or ask oneself if he is ready to do away with the reasons for his illness. Only then is it possible to help him. And as many of us wish for greater health, sometimes we may be a little hesitant to take the necessary steps to support our health, or maybe make changes that we know are going to benefit us. And this technique is one that does take a little bit of time, a little bit of patience to implement. It is not difficult. It is really simple, as you will see in just a few moments. But we do want to be consistent in its application because that's how we're going to derive the maximum benefits. So let's learn more about this technique. Our body works like a symphony would. A symphony is comprised of so many different elements, individuals with different instruments, and they each have their function. They each produce their own music. However, they all come together in a uniform manner to produce harmonious, beautiful music. Our body is also comprised of a variety of different vital organs and systems that work together to enable us to have quality of life and to function at a cellular level. Our human body contains over 30 trillion cells, 78 different organs, and more than 60,000 miles of blood vessels if you stretch them end to end. Can you imagine how marvelous our body is made? All of these cells, all of these organs, all of these vessels, they're working together, each playing their vital role, and they have a purpose. The purpose is to keep us alive. Now we have a total of 10 different body systems. They're all interconnected, all dependent upon each other to carry out their specific role or function. We have the circulatory system, respiratory, nervous, muscular, skeletal, digestive, endocrine, lymphatic, reproductive, and integumentary. This is your skin and hair. For example, let's look at how different systems rely on each other to get a job or function done. Your heartbeat, for instance, it's going to receive these electrical impulses from the brain and your nervous system in order for it to beat. Your skeletal system is going to obtain those vital nutrients from the digestive system in order to build strong and healthy bones. Then we have our respiratory system. Our circulatory system is gathering and delivering the oxygen that our lungs require. So you can see that each part of our body is interdependent with other parts and other systems in order for all of it to work in unison as a whole. Now, as these systems work together, they are creating this internal stability, internal balance, and this is called homeostasis. This is the body's tendency to maintain a relatively stable internal, physical, and chemical environment between these interdependent elements in the body. Now, disease, when this occurs, it'll disrupt that delicate balance and it'll start to negatively impact other body systems. So, our goal in this class is to learn how we can maintain optimal balance and support each of these various systems. Symphony of the Cells is a collection of 19 types of application, which were created by Boyd Truman. He is a doTERRA presidential diamond leader with over 27 years of experience using therapeutic grade essential oils, as well as his extensive training with body systems along with massage. He developed this technique in order to help more people use their oils and gain the maximum therapeutic benefit from them. He has worked with thousands of people throughout the world and has trained lots of people in this technique. So I took this training. This was an all-day intense training course to learn about it and be effective at giving it to my customers, my family, different members of my community. But I am bringing it to you today because we are dealing with some major environmental threats. We are doing our best to protect our health, to fortify our immune system. And I felt that this would be an effective way to do that, as various holistic practitioners in our essential oil community are also implementing the Symphony of the Cells technique with their clients and their community. Now, this very simple and effective technique is used to support chronic challenges or to also integrate it as part of your wellness routine using these essential oils. So you can use it as a proactive measure, as a matter to create that balance and harmony in the body, or you can use it when you are facing a chronic condition or a threat. Now, the purpose is to bring again that homeostasis, which includes the physical, the spiritual, the emotional part of our body. And all of these applications are going to support a combination of body systems or specific areas. And we can then focus our support to get to the root cause of many of these diseases and conditions. Here are the 19 different types of applications. And today we are going to only focus on 5 of them. I'm going to go over the very basic protocol, which we often use on children. The emobic and the sensory are 2 of the applications that focus on emotional support, which I thought was very important because although we want to fight infection, we want to build our respiratory support and elevate our immune boosting properties, we also have to handle a lot of stressors that are being a real threat in our life right now. With all the change, with all of the ways we need to adapt, and all of the triggers that are there between family and work and children and school and trying to keep everybody safe. All of this can have an emotional toll on us, and that can be very draining. And when you have a high stress level, this produces cortisol and other hormones and chemicals that can actually be very detrimental to your health, to your immune system. And so we want to address the emotional component as well, because as I mentioned, all of our different systems are interconnected and we want to create balance among all of them. The other two protocols or application types we will review are, of course, the respiratory and the ID or infectious disease protocol. Before we get started, let's go over the basics of essential oil. We want to ensure that we apply a carrier oil to the skin before we use any hot oils or any oils that have a warning as being sensitive to our skin. Now, if you are new to essential oils, a carrier oil is going to be something like fractionated coconut oil, which stays liquid at all temperatures. It can be jojoba oil, sweet almond oil, grapeseed oil, even olive oil. A carrier oil is going to be a vegetable oil that is going to be used to dilute the other oils. And there are some oils considered hot. They're very spicy. They can irritate the skin if you put them directly on the skin. So in our protocol, we will be using some oils considered hot, especially in the infectious disease protocol. So dilution is going to be key. Now, when you are using the essential oils in this protocol, never take your oil and press it against the skin. Okay, we don't want to do that. You're just going to drop it from above on the skin. Never apply oils directly to any of your private parts, to your eyes, your ears, your nose. And we do not want to add water to the oils unless we want to intensify the effect. And I will be going over this in more detail in just a moment. If you get an oil on you and it is too intense, it starts to irritate you or burn, then you want to calm or reduce that intensity by using a carrier oil. If you add water, it's just going to intensify it. So in order to reduce it, you must use an oil. Keep all of your essential oils away from direct sunlight and from hot temperatures. You want to protect the precious chemistry. These oils are alive, they have live properties, and heat and sun will minimize them, even can kill them. So keep them in a cool, dark place. If your essential oil says supplemental fact on the label, then you can take this essential oil internally. All of them safe for internal use will have this supplemental fact label, except for tea tree. Tea tree is also used for internal purposes, even though the label may not directly indicate that. Before you start an application, there are a few things you want to keep in mind. It's always best to organize the oils in the order that you will be applying them. Keep them in an accessible place. I like to open up the caps of every single oil I'm using in a protocol, and then I lay the cap right next to the essential oil or right in front of it so that I don't confuse them as I'm applying them in a sequence. So whichever protocol or application type you will be using, just go over the oils in that specific protocol and get them organized so that they're accessible and easy to use and conveniently located. You want to prepare your space or decide where you're going to apply the oils to the individual. It could be on the floor, on a yoga mat, maybe on the sofa. If you have a massage table, that's always very comfy, or even on the bed. So decide where you're going to apply the oils to this individual. Now, unless directed, and for today's purposes and the protocols I'll be sharing with you, all of them are going to require the person lying flat on their stomach. The feet are going to be exposed, so no socks or shoes, and the back is going to be exposed. Now, for women, if you want to cover your top and protect your breast or have a little bit more discretion, then you can use a button up blouse or a robe where you put it on backwards. So the opening would be towards the back. And just slide your hands in, and then you can lie down, and that back opening will make it easy for the individual applying the technique while you still are more comfortable and protected from the top. The next point is very important. When you are going to administer this technique, it's always important to allow the person receiving the technique to come to a state of calm and relaxation. When we are anxious or nervous or restless, it's we produce these chemicals, cortisol and epinephrine and adrenaline, that can fight against the oils. And we don't want that. We want the body to be calm and receptive. So allow the body to get in a position where they're comfortable. And once they're in place, you want to lay your hands gently on their back and maybe use the gentle rocking technique where you just rock them very slowly, very gently back and forth. You can move your hands over a couple inches and then rock them very gently, very slowly. This is going to mimic the effect of a baby being rocked in a cradle or being rocked in his mother's arms. And it takes us back to a place of safety and security and feeling loved. And that gentle rocking is a really quick way to reduce any anxiety in the body. The alternate technique you can use is just very gently stroking that person's back a couple of times to just help activate, some of those, the serotonin and the dopamine, so that they start to feel more relaxed and ready to accept the technique you're going to give them. Follow the symbols on each of the protocols step by step. Do not skip over any steps, and make sure you apply the oils exactly as they are indicated, because as I mentioned, they have been studied for their various properties, and different oils are known as drivers, which will make the oils penetrate even deeper. And then the chemistry of some oils will be enhanced by the subsequent oil. Therefore, it's very important that you maintain the order of the oils. Here are some of the symbols we're going to review in a lot more detail. They are not going to be exactly like the symbols you may see if you happen to purchase the booklet or the book Symphony of the Cells. I wanted to bring you graphics that I had access to, but that still represent what the original book indicates. So just be aware they may not be exactly like the book if you end up obtaining the book later on. But we're going to learn how to apply the carrier oil. If you see the symbol of a hand, what that means. if you want to intensify an oil at the end of a protocol, how you can do that. When you apply to the feet at the end of each series of oils. Applying oils on the neck and the shoulders will have this symbol with the top of the back and the shoulders, and then the oil. Plus, applying essential oils on the back and the back of the neck, plus a nose will mean that you're going to give that person your hand so that they can inhale the aroma of the oils. So let's look at each of these. The carrier oil, as I mentioned, is going to protect the skin from irritation when hot oils or oils that are known to cause sensitivity are applied during the protocol. So stronger oils that may be in any given protocol, like oregano or cinnamon or cassia or clove or thyme, all of these are considered hot. So make sure you are very generous with the carrier oil when you apply that. You're going to apply a layer of your carrier throughout the entire back and the back of the neck. For the nose, you simply just allow the individual receiving the application to inhale the oils from your hand. Let them know your hand is there. Sometimes people will close their eyes as they're relaxing and you're giving them the application. So just place your hand near their nose and ask them to take 1 or 2 deep breaths. When you see the hand, this is optional, but it means you're going to roll the oil on your hand because that oil is in a touch format or in a roller ball. So you roll the ball on your hand, the roller ball, and then you apply the oil from there. This is a more sanitary way to apply the oils instead of rolling the oils on the individual. Because we have dead skin cells, we can have some bacteria, or maybe we have some sweat, and you don't want that coming back into the roller ball. Again, this is completely optional, but if you see the hand, this is where you can roll those oils on your hand directly. For the neck and shoulder application, you're going to apply 3 to 4 drops of the oil at the base of the neck and across the shoulders. And then you're going to rub the oil in this entire area. So whenever you see this small section with the shoulders and a drop, you're just covering that top portion of the back. For the feet, all you do is slide your hands across the feet. With any oil that remains in your hands, you do not have to put additional drops of oil on your hands or on your feet. You just use whatever you have left. It may seem like it's a tiny amount. Believe me, it's going to be sufficient. If you see the thermometer, this is again an optional step, but it is highly recommended that you consider including it in your treatment. This is going to intensify the effect and it's going to create movement in the body, will help the oils penetrate more deeply. And as that creates heat, that movement allows for faster circulation of the essential oils throughout the body. Now, there's various ways that you can incorporate heat. The heat is going to be the last step in the protocol. And you can do this by taking a warm shower or a warm bath. You can do some hot towels or even use a heating pad or a sauna. Just be very careful that you do not put the heating pad directly against the skin. Make sure you put a thin sheet or a towel to protect the skin. And don't worry about oils washing away from the body if you do decide to bathe or shower or maybe do the sauna, because they're going to just intensify and they've already been penetrating into the skin. So you'll be absolutely fine. Make sure the person is comfortable though, since this does intensify the heat and the effect of the oils. You want to make sure that it's not too hot or they're not getting irritated. So ask them, are you comfortable? How's the intensity? If it gets too hot and they're uncomfortable, then put another layer of fractionated coconut oil to dilute those oils a little bit more. For the back application, in the protocol, you're just going to see the back, but these are the steps that that symbol requires. You will place 4 to 6 drops along the spine, beginning at the base of the spine and going up towards the neck. Then that is your first step. After that, you are going to run your fingers or your hand very lightly across the vertebrae or across the column of the back, the base of the back, up all the way to the back of the neck, right back here at the bottom of the occipital area. So you start at the base of the spine, as you can see the arrow, and then you just slide your hand or 2 to 3 fingers up along the spine until you hit the base of the skull. That is the second step. Third step, you begin again at the base of the spine, right at the base of the back, and you're going to make clockwise circles across the back, coming up towards the base of the skull. So that is the third and final step that's going to complete the back application. So step 1, apply the drops across the spine. You roll or slide your hand up the spine. And the third one is you do clockwise circles across the back, all the way up from the base, up towards the neck or the bottom of the skull. Frequency and dosage of this application. If you are healthy, this is just for maintenance, you're just trying to support your overall wellness, then you can do any type of protocol that you need 2 to 3 times a month. If you have specific health problems and you're trying to address certain issues, then you would do this protocol, whichever of the 19 that you select, 2 to 3 times a week for 1 to 2 weeks, or as long as that chronic condition is occurring. And then you would move to doing it 2 to 3 times a month. For each application of oils, you're going to use 4 to 6 drops. If you have never used essential oils, if someone is completely new to oils, then you want to start with fewer drops, maybe 1 to 2 drops. If it is a child with a health condition or a person that is over 50, then again, also just start with 1 or 2 drops. And always remember that you want to use a carrier oil, especially with children and with older adults. Their skin is more frail, it's thinner, and more sensitive. So make sure that you use that carrier oil. A couple of questions that frequently come up. If someone must perform this technique on you, and absolutely not. It is designed to be very easy and you can do it on yourself. It is best if someone does it for you, but if you don't have anyone, then you can absolutely perform it on yourself. You just want to get up as far along as you can on your back. Just follow the symbols where you would start at the base of your spine, and then you would just come across and get as far down and then come up at the top of your spine. And of course, it'll be easy to get to your feet and to inhale them if that is required in the protocol that you're performing on yourself. And yes, it is safe to use on children. Again, just use fewer drops. And there is a basic application method that can be a ideal protocol for children, and it's this one here. The basic protocol is going to address the digestive, immune, and respiratory systems. And then I've outlined some of the conditions that can possibly be supported with this basic protocol. So we have everything from earache to fever to stress to vomiting, just regular colds, headaches, stomach aches. These are things that kiddos are usually dealing with when they're not feeling well. So let's look at the application of this basic protocol. You have frankincense. Frankincense is super gentle and can be applied directly to the skin or neat. And you can see that you would apply the frankincense, as I mentioned, 1 or 2 drops across the shoulders, and then you would massage it into that area and into the neck. And then you would take your hand and place it near the child's nose and have them take some deep breaths. And then whatever's left on your hands, you would just run it across the feet. At this point, you want to add some fractionated coconut oil throughout the back. And then you can start applying the subsequent oils. You would add 1 or 2 drops to the spine of the child. And remember, we go from the base up, and you would slide your fingers up the spine and get that oil throughout that entire spine up into the base of the neck. And then you would, in clockwise motions, start at the base of the spine and then move your way up all the way to the top of the back and into the neck. Once you do that, you swipe the feet with whatever is left over of the tea tree in your hands. Step 4, you use aroma touch and you repeat this process. And right after that, you do peppermint. Now, this is a very quick technique that might take you 5 minutes or less. So don't think it's going to take a long time or that it's very complicated, because it truly isn't. It's very efficient, very quick, and very effective. Now, this basic technique can also be used on adults. So this is one for individuals that might be limited with the amount of oils that they have, or limited in the amount of time. This is a very nice way to support somebody and still have more flexibility. Now, some of the other protocols I'm going to review are going to have a lot more oils. The sensory protocol is going to support your nervous system, as well as the endocrine, cardiovascular, emotional, and limbic systems, and digestive systems. The conditions that the sensory will support are any type of restlessness, if there's problems with focus and concentration, anxious feelings, any type of obsessing, stress, problems with coordination, or if someone is very sensitive to noise, this would be a really great protocol to implement. Let's take a look at the oils that it requires. The sensory is going to start with balance or with frankincense. Again, across the shoulders, 4 to 6 drops, and then just massage that in. Then we have the back. Once you move from the back to the nose, you want to make sure that they take some deep breaths of either of these oils, whatever you're using, and then swipe the bottom of the feet. Second is a fractionated coconut oil, put it throughout the back, and then we move on to a series of oils that are going to require that they're inhaled at the midpoint. So you apply it in the back, and then we inhale, and then we swipe the feet. And this is repeated with each of the oils in this protocol. So if you'd like to take a picture of this so you can have it handy, I'm going to be moving on to the other emotional protocol called Emobic. This is great for your emotional and limbic system, your endocrine system, cardiovascular system, respiratory system, and immune system. Now, all of the different conditions that are supported is mental fatigue, anger, sadness, emotional trauma, fear, stress, panic. This can be a very powerful treatment plan for individuals that are really struggling to adapt to these different stressful situations that everyone is facing. And these are the oils that are part of this protocol. Again, we're starting off with the frankincense, and then we're moving on to neroli. Neroli is also in a roller balls, but I wanted to give you the option. If you want to just apply it directly to the spine, you could do that, or you can use the hand technique. Then we have the rose and the jasmine, where you could apply it to your hand first. And for these, you would directly begin with the nasal inhalation. So once it's on your hand, you would give it your hand to that individual to breathe, and then you move on to the back and the feet. After the jasmine is when we introduce the fractionated coconut oil throughout the entire back. And then we move on to the remaining oils: spikenard, melissa, align, Douglas fir, and spearmint. Now, the infectious disease protocol or ID protocol is going to support your immune system, digestive, respiratory, and cardiovascular. And you can see that I have a list of some of the top concerns that can be addressed with this protocol, from viral infections to bacterial infections, any type of immune support, sore throat, your common cold. This will be the protocol that you would start with. If you are using the Symphony of the Cells to support your immune system or combat a threat, then you would start with the infectious disease. And right after this, you would move into the respiratory, which is coming up. This is the infectious disease protocol. We start off with the frankincense, move into the fractionated coconut oil. You can see here that now we're getting some hot oils. So be very generous with the fractionated coconut oil. Make sure you cover the entire back and the back of the neck, because when you introduce the oregano and the thyme, these are going to be pretty spicy. So we don't want to irritate that skin. You'll notice that there is no nose in this protocol, so all you have to do is focus on the back application and the feet. Now, at the end of this protocol, you'll see that next to peppermint, we have the thermometer, which would indicate you have the option of adding some heat or asking the person to take a bath or go to the sauna or take a hot shower. But since we are recommending that you do the infectious disease protocol and immediately move into the respiratory protocol, you can hold off on this section here until you complete the second protocol, and then we can do heat at that point. So let's move into respiratory, and this supports your respiratory, cardiovascular, immune, and urinary systems. And the conditions are going to be seasonal threats, bronchial challenges, lung challenges, any type of cough, a sinus infection, common cold, congestion of the lungs or chest, as well as any type of wheezing. And here are the oils for this application technique. Again, we're starting with the frankincense across the shoulders and neck. Allow them to inhale it, apply to the bottom of the feet, move into the fractionated coconut oil, and then we start with tea tree and move on subsequently to each oil. And this one does include the inhalation. So we have the nose symbol. So make sure you allow individuals to smell the oil from your hand. Again, you'll notice that there is a thermometer, which indicates we can intensify the effect and add a little bit of heat. So once you do the infectious disease, you're going to end with peppermint, and then you move right into respiratory. And when you end with peppermint here again, now at this point, you can introduce the heat if you'd like. Now, some of these oils are duplicated, like the peppermint is also in the infectious disease. The On Guard also is in the infectious disease. You have to apply them again, even though you just applied them, you want to apply them again in the respiratory application. Here are a list of substitutions. If you do not have certain oils, you might want to take some pictures of the 2 lists of substitutions I'll be sharing, which are just specifically for the 5 protocols that we reviewed just now. And it's always best if you have the original oil that's recommended in the technique. If not, then try to use the oil, the first oil, so oil number 1. And of course, if you don't have oil number 1, then we move on and use oil number 2. So do what you can to incorporate the original oils because of their chemistry, but oil number 1 will have similar chemistry and constituents that can be utilized. And oil number 2 is going to be the alternative to that. Let's look at the other list of substitutions so that you have those readily available. They do come in handy when we run out of something, and it's important to know what you can use in its place. Now, I want to share a couple of tips and different things you can do to support your immune system. And this is a roller ball that you can make with these various oils. It's called Fluma for frankincense, lemongrass, oregano, On Guard, melaleuca, which is now called tea tree, and arborvitae. Super simple to make, and you just use 10 drops of each, fill the rest with the fractionated coconut oil, and you can apply this to your hands, your feet, the front and back of your neck, along your spine, as many times as you'd like throughout the day. I even put a little bit inside my mask. I think it smells wonderful. And this is an additional tool that you can have in your backpack, in your purse, in your desk, for on-the-go support. And whenever you need something and aren't able to do the Symphony of the Cells, then you have this great backup to that. Now, there's a protocol that has been suggested by some of the doctors in our essential oil community, some of the naturopathic physicians, what they're using and recommending to others. And this is going to be the Fluma, which we just went over, plus some other added protection. Let's go into that and go over some of the information that I'm hoping will benefit you so that you have some options. So use your Fluma, use it daily, several times a day. And of course, use your On Guard sanitizing mist. Our hand sanitizer is very effective and can even be boosted by adding the essential oil called DDR Prime. If you add 5 to 10 drops, DDR Prime is excellent to build the immune system. It has antiviral and antibacterial properties, and very, very effective for internal and external use. And you can also use it to diffuse so that we can clean and sanitize the air. Also, take 1 DDR Prime soft gel or 5 drops of the DDR Prime essential oil twice a day to boost your immune system. Also, make sure that you are including your full dose of the Lifelong Vitality Pack, 2 of each twice a day with food. That base foundational nutrition is going to be key to supporting your body, the various systems, giving you that protection you need, because we do have a lot of nutritional gaps, and having a lack of nutrition is going to be one of those things that can make a big difference in our abilities to heal and overcome a lot of threats. We talked about stress and high cortisol and how that negatively impacts our health. We have the adaptive soft gel, which is excellent for reducing your body's response to stress. So it supports your mood, it supports your central nervous system, and you also want to use the adaptive topically, right? We have the adaptive in a roll on, as well as the 15 milliliter concentrated adaptive for your diffuser. So the adaptive is going to be something that can support your ability to deal with this ever-changing situation, always being in flux, feeling uncertain about so many things, and that constant worry and being in fight or flight mode very, very often can be very detrimental to our health. So we want to support that nervous system and relax it. Use your On Guard and or your DDR Prime on the soles of your feet, morning and night. And then Correctex. Correctex is an ointment that has lavender and cedarwood and frankincense and helichrysum. It has antiseptic and antiviral and antibacterial properties. Normally we use it for cuts and scrapes and bruises and wounds, but you can also use it inside the base of your nose. This was recommended by one of our naturopathic physicians, and it's going to give you an extra little layer of protection. You can put it inside your nostrils before you put on your mask, and that's going to help minimize any threats that come across that mask. And we mentioned diffusing. Diffusing is very important. Just diffuse day and night. You can diffuse anything like On Guard or DDR Prime or Purify, and that's going to kill and sanitize, kill any type of pathogens or bacterials in the air, and it's going to sanitize that the quality of the air in your home. And you can pair it with other oils. You can pair it with something calming and relaxing like Serenity or Adaptive or Balance. So these are a few tips I wanted to share with you. Now, this is the protocol. If you are exposed to a threat, then you want to take your Lifelong Vitality Pack, 2 of each twice a day with food if you're 120 pounds or above. If you weigh less than that, then you would take 1 of each twice a day with food. You would increase your DDR Prime from once twice a day to 2 of them 3 times a day. So this is important. 2 soft gels or 10 drops 3 times a day. And of course, we're going to do the Symphony of the Cells, Infectious Disease, and Respiratory applications back to back twice a day. And they won't take long. It'll take maybe 15 minutes to do both of them. So do it in the morning and then again in the afternoon or the evening. And you want to do this for about 7 to 10 days. And then you can move in to maybe doing it 2 or 3 times a week, and then later move into 2 to 3 times a month. But if you are exposed and you're unwell, then make sure you do these back to back twice a day. If you do not have the DDR Prime, I have a couple of alternatives that were shared by one of our naturopathic physicians. We have 2 GX Assist plus 2 On Guard soft gels, the On Guard Plus, or you can make your own Flume veggie caps. Now, the On Guard Plus soft gel is not exactly the same as the On Guard essential oil. The On Guard Plus contains 3 additional oils, which is your black pepper. It also includes melissa and oregano, and these are heavy hitters to combat all sorts of different threats in the body. So the On Guard Plus soft gels plus the GX Assist is going to be what you want to use if you do not have the DDR Prime. If you do not have either of these, then just make your own veggie capsules. 2 drops of each of the following: frankincense, lemongrass, oregano, on guard, and tea tree. And take one of these veggie caps 3 times a day. For any type of cough, you can make yourself a natural tea with essential oils. Use 1 drop of lemon, 1 drop of Siberian fir, and 1 drop of lavender with some warm water and a teaspoon of honey. Or use myrrh, cinnamon or cassia, and lemon for any type of post-nasal drip. You want to use warm water, not boiling water, because remember what I mentioned when we first started the class, that if you use extreme heat or expose the oils to extreme heat, you can compromise those therapeutic properties of the oil. I wanted to share the book that contains the 19 protocols that I mentioned earlier, and will outline each of them with a lot of different details that are very helpful when you're learning to do this protocol. If you go to truewellness.com, you can obtain this booklet for it's like under 15 bucks. They also have a chart of the body systems and which oils support different body systems. If you want to do a deep dive into how that works, then that's an alternative that you can consider. But if you were to just obtain the booklet, that would be more than sufficient to explain to you how to do the different protocols. And if you noticed in the class, they had protocols for digestive issues, for hormone issues, for other emotional support. So there's a lot of variety, and there's so much great information on how to support your body naturally. And I am not affiliated with Symphony of the Cells or True Wellness. I do not get any type of commission, or I'm not being paid for their endorsement. I just wanted to share this information and give you the tools that you need to maximize the use of your essential oils. Well, I want to thank you so much for your time and appreciate giving me this opportunity to share Symphony of the Cells with you. I hope that you benefit from this knowledge and you are able to put it into practice. Until next time, have a good one.